you on that. I'm just living my life. Whoever, in a few minutes or after, by the end of this evening.
Yeah, they may not even call it this evening, everybody, based on what I'm seeing. So hello, Instagram, everybody who is out there. Hello, everybody who is in here in Zoom. We're all over the place officially. This is the election edition of Building Black Wealth. We are all about building Black wealth here. So everybody on Instagram, if you go to the10kproject.com, I have a couple other people. You know, I can see them actually. Let's see. Can you see my screen there? Oh, here it is. Oh, that's like a really bad. Anyway, y'all can see my screen. Y'all can see we've got something happening here. So the10kproject.com, you can come into Zoom. We're talking tonight about your family is a business. This is the election edition of Your Family is a Business. We're only going to be on for about a half hour tonight, but we have something super, super powerful to talk about. It is the Black Family Wealth Challenge. It officially launched yesterday, and you can get in now in order to learn how to use a little known wealth building tool in order to build your family's wealth. So for the next couple of weeks, we're going to be coming on live Monday through Friday in order to talk about building Black wealth, taking the time during the holidays. No matter who wins the election, no matter what's happening, my family is going to be okay. We know your family is going to be okay too. So let's really start focusing on how do we build a 100-year wealth plan for our families? How do we pull our families together? If you have a family that can't be pulled together, that's okay too. You come on by yourself and then you create your family around you. So the two people here on the screen with me are my family. All of you are my family. So, you know, we're going to keep it moving and pushing. So again, everybody on Instagram, you can come to the10kproject.com in order to check us out. But you all will be able to hear from me. We're going to be reading partially tonight from Family Wealth by James Hughes Jr. So I'm going to show it here on Instagram, Family Wealth, James Hughes Jr. Your family is a business. We intend to act like a family, think like a bank, so much that we got the swag for it. So tomorrow, you will receive, if you're a 10K Project member, you will receive the link to the Teespring account as well as, a Teespring store, so you can get your swag, as well as the Knowledge Center that has some beginning items in there for you. And next Monday at 8 p.m. is when our first session is going to be 8 p.m. Eastern. So without further ado, let's talk a little bit about family wealth building. This is all about your family is a business, again, from the book, Family Wealth, James Hughes Jr., Family Wealth, James Hughes Jr. If you want to get a copy of the book, it's on Amazon. One of the things he says here is the assets of a family are its individual members. I'm going to read that again. The assets of a family are its individual members. Put a 1 in the chat if you believe that. The assets of a family are the individual members. Every family wealth preservation plan must begin and end with an acknowledgement that the most important assets a family has are its members. Business people know that for a business to be successful, 70 to 80% of management's time must be spent on asset growth and 20 to 30% of its time on liabilities. My experience, this is the author saying this, my experience of almost every family is that they get this formula reversed. Any successful businessman who hears that a rival is spending 70 to 80% of his time on his liabilities knows that soon he will have one fewer competitor. I'm going to say that again, because we are in competition with other families in this country and on this earth. Okay? So what they said here again is, my experience of almost every family is that they get the formula reversed. Any successful businessman who hears that a rival is spending 70 to 80% of his time on his liabilities knows that soon he will have one fewer competitor. So all of you who are listening to Powernomics all the time, this is part of it, okay? For example, they know that no matter how much they save in taxes, which are a cost or a liability of doing business, those savings pale in comparison to the revenues lost through poorly educated family members. A family business that knows what its assets and liabilities are and apportions its governance appropriately will find it successfully preserving its wealth. I feel like saying, can the church give me an amen for that? Okay. So don't forget to put your city and state in the chat, everybody, as well. I forgot to say that. Put your city and state in the chat as well so we can recognize you. Thank you so much. I got an amen in the chat. I read this and I was like, okay, this is the topic for the evening. Understanding that every family member that we have is either an asset or a liability. Just like every person you have in your life, it's a friend or whomever, they're an asset or a liability, plain and simple, right? And if we spend so much of our time running behind the liabilities, running behind people who are not educated, and when I say educated, I don't mean someone who has a Harvard degree or anything like that. You can have someone who has an 8th grade education who's educated in your family. So, we know that, right? However, we do need to figure out the assets and the liabilities within ourselves, within our families, within our children especially. And we need to work on positioning people within the family to be greater assets. Because if you've ever been in business or you work in corporate America, that's what human capital is all about. It's human capital and intellectual capital. Yeah. So Dr. Keisha is shaking her head. So everybody on Instagram, this is Dr. Keisha here. She is, there we go. She is our teacher around here, our chief instructional officer. So what do you think, Dr. Keisha? Anybody on Instagram, if y'all want to come and hear this in Zoom, go to the10kproject.com. I'm about to actually end the Instagram now, so y'all can come the10kproject.com and meet us on Zoom. Okay, everybody, bye-bye. I'm just leaving Zoom. I'm sorry, I'm just leaving Instagram, everybody. Go ahead, Dr. Keisha.
Yeah, I was about to shake my head off my neck, because truly, when you are talking about pulling together your human capital, and as you mentioned, in terms of being educated and that kind of thing, it's not about that. It's about who's who is trainable, teachable, and somebody who's willing to do some stuff, somebody who's willing to pull their weight. We're talking about the soft skills that we need to have in place, not to mention those people, as you mentioned, who in the family, if we have people who have a bent towards accounting and business mindsets and things like that. Again, not because they have a degree necessarily, because again, I'm an educator and I'm telling you, there are people with tremendous skill sets that are innate to them that we didn't teach them in traditional school. They've learned it from hard knocks. They figured it out because of, they want to do different than what their parent did or what they see their brother do or whatever like that. And so they're open to this new information and they're willing to make that difference in the family. So, you're really hitting on a really good point. And I know we have another session where we're going to talk about those kinds of dynamics in the family, and that's
we're going to go deep into that.
Yeah.
So just so everyone knows, February 2021, every Tuesday in February 2021 will be book club, where we're going to dive deep into all of the sections of this amazing book. But go ahead, Eric. What are your thoughts?
Well, I was going to say, because as you were saying that, we were talking about intellectual capital, especially from within our family members. It was making me think about family members that I have that fit right in line. They know, do they have the 4-year degrees, from prestigious universities. No, but they took on and have a huge interest when it comes down to trading stocks using Robinhood and platforms like Webull, and they're doing very well for themselves. And for them, they bring that knowledge to me and the other family members and say, hey, listen, I'm doing well in this. Let me show you. I'm going to show you some of the steps and what I'm doing, and you can come right along with me. And I look at things like that. It's right along with what Dr. K was saying, of people just taking the knowledge of things that they are very passionate about, really, really pushing themselves, being hyper focused about it, and trial and error and learning and getting that corrective feedback. And then, coming back to us when they've really sharpened those skills, and then being able to add those into the rest of the family and to be able to say, hey, listen, here's a skill, here's a way that I've learned, and I can add that into us, and we can become part of your overall financial profile. So yes, I see something like that, something that it's really happening a lot, I think, in our current in our current time right now.
Yeah. And I do think, again, as a business person, I understand what he's saying as well, not just looking at what we have, but looking at where we need to be. So I'll give you a great example. Over the course of the challenge, one of the things you'll then learn is something called governance. For example, governance is basically how things operate. Within the 5 of us, as 10K project officers, nobody does that better than Tawana. Like, I would fall apart doing that. Eric, Dr. Keisha, the 3 of us would fall apart doing that. Talisha could probably do it as well, but she loves the tech. Like, the tech is not our, none of our things, right? We could probably fight with it, but, well, Dr. Keisha teaches tech, but not at the level that Talisha.
Like that.
So, and I don't think you mind me saying that, Dr. Keisha, like Talisha's like, a tech person, right?
Yeah, she's behind the scenes. Once she makes it a beautiful interface, I got you now.
Yeah, then you can like take it and move on. Exactly. So, and I'm the one that comes up with the wild, crazy ideas and says, okay, well, let's put this together,
Right.
So when we start talking about your family as a business and you start thinking about business, you're also thinking about where you are today, where you want to be, and what's lacking between there. Does somebody need to pick up a skill? So the skill of governance can be one of those things where somebody actually picks up that skill, runs with it, operationalizes it, and then comes back with an operations manual in case they ever get hit by the proverbial bus, right? Something else is, somebody within your family may be the person who knows how to fix stuff. But maybe they need a class, like a formal class, or maybe they need to go and get a formal certification. Is it smart for the family to invest in that person to go and get a plumbing license so that when you all are building up your real estate properties, for example, you got that person in. But if that person becomes an asset there, then everyone who they're helping has to be an asset somewhere for him or her as well. And I do think that that's where resentment can come in. If you're depending on 2 people to be assets and everyone else just wants to be a liability and mooch off the assets, it doesn't work that way either. Another thing, now I'm starting to really give y'all stuff, but that's okay. The other thing I'm thinking of is your kids, for example. Some of your kids are really great at research, great at online research, things like that. Tasking your kids with, hey, you know what? Our family bank is going to want to invest in tax liens. Shanette Williams teaches a class in tax liens. Little Johnny, who's 14 years old, you are going to sit there and you're going to become the family's resident expert in tax liens. How do we find them? How do we know it's a good one? All of that stuff, right? That's how you start making family members' assets as well, but somebody has to have the vision around it. Dr. Keisha and Eric, what do you two think?
Well, I was going to add to that too, because I'm a special education teacher, and I know there's certain disabilities where people will perseverate on certain things, and they are perfect for those kind of little nitpicky kind of jobs, that other people just go nuts over. So so don't discount anybody's talent in the family, and as you mentioned, even the age. Folks who can just draw. I used to have a student who could draw awesomely. I had him do like those Google Doodle things. I set that up for him to do. But I mean, that isn't like all he could do, bless his heart. But he could do it so well that if once you needed your marketing and stuff like that, your logos and stuff like that, that would have been him. He could have done that. And that gives people in your family such a sense of pride. So I'm taking it much further, and I'm telling you, I'm almost tearing up here because it really to think about how when we first started off talking about how you don't have to have the degree and all of that. If you think about us as a people, we come with so many different skills, and we get together. Once we get together, we can create stuff, and we do it all the time. We've done it all the time. We make $1 out of 15 cents, but here's an opportunity to really do this for the family. And I feel like that's really what people need today. So I'm so excited about this. I'm getting beyond it because I really, this is so powerful right now. But yeah, this is going to do so much more than just what the line item of our family, the goals of it, in terms of economic wealth and all that, generational wealth and all that. But yeah, don't forget everybody though. Include everyone. Every person brings some value.
Let's talk then about what Capri is asking. Capri, I know that you're a 10K project member, so I'm going to have an answer specifically for 10K project members. So Capri is asking, I'm having trouble or problems, getting my family on board. They want the quick money like a susu, but nothing long-term. How can I get them excited about being part of the family bank? You said family business, so I love that too, right? There are two things that I would suggest. Number one, since you're already a part of the challenge, part of the reason why I wanted to have Esther Boykin come, who is the family therapist, is to give us some tools with regards to that. Also, Calvin Williams, who's coming to talk about the wealth plan, the 100-year wealth plan, he will also be able to give us some tools. The final thing that I will say is if you take those tools and they still don't work, going back to what Robert Cook said about his family, sometimes you just can't bring them with you. But before you absolutely say, you know what, they don't want to do it, let's go through here Calvin Williams and hear Esther Boykin and what they have to say. Go through Thanksgiving and have the conversation again, and then see. Because sometimes people just need to see the train moving.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just need to come to the first meeting and say, oh, this is a real thing, And then sometimes you will have people who are just short term and that's it. And, that's not going to be the people that you want to have.
And didn't we talk about the fact that this could be an extended family thing? I mean,
yes.
You started off talking about this in the sense that we're a family, and truly you may have to find, and that's a business concept, isn't it? That most of your clients are not going to be your family kind of thing, like when you're selling Avon and all that stuff and you're trying to go to your warm market kind of thing. Most often than not, it's not going to be your family when it first starts off, but we know how we do, as soon as something starts getting going, as you mentioned,
people will come on board.
Oh yeah, they'll get on board. And then you can frame it up and give them the flat out governance. And this is how it's done, which is exactly like Cook was talking about. So yeah.
And I would listen to Robert Cook a couple more times because he also talked about if people lose a job, if they fall behind, what do you do to catch them up? Like I re-listened to it a couple of times recently, and there were a lot of really practical things in there that he talked about that can help you with the twists and turns of this, because this is not something that you do and it's going to be smooth sailing all the way through. So yeah, so I do want to just give people who are new here the opportunity to see what we are talking about. We are doing the Family Wealth Challenge. It is time for Black people to get our families together. And the whole idea started with a 90-minute family bank interview that we did with Robert Cook and Colonel Frank Preston. They're regular Black family that started off with $25 per month per family member, ended up with 7 figures in cash and assets. So if you join the challenge, FamilyWealthChallenge.black, that's FamilyWealthChallenge.black, you get access to that interview. We're doing a 7-week masterclass as well, where we have attorneys coming in, estate planning attorneys, wealth coaches. We have a family therapist coming to talk with us about how to have those difficult conversations within the family. And we also have someone coming to talk to us about alternative investments once this is up and running. That's the masterclass. We also have the resource list. Again, wealth planners, estate planners, wealth coaches, all sorts of people on that resource list. Most of them are Black professionals that understand this culturally. You'll get access to that resource list as well, so you can set up your family bank. Also, the Preston family gave us their original partnership agreement. You're going to get access to that. We also have a sample meeting invitation and a sample agenda for your first meeting that will be available to you, so you don't have to start from scratch. We also have access to our members only Facebook group through the 10K project. You will join that as well. And in January, we're going to have 3 bonus interviews talking about alternative investments. And in February, we're going to have our Family Wealth Book Club. Here's the book right here. We're going to go deep into that. The total value of the Family Wealth Challenge is $22.32, but you can become a part of the challenge for $100. If you are a 10K project member, you are grandfathered in, and we've got swag as well. Again, if you're a 10K project member, you will get the link tomorrow. We had, I think about 15, 16 people sign up just yesterday. So, you know, welcome to all the new people. We're going to be doing a lot of advertising over the next couple of weeks regarding this as well. But you can get your hoodies, you can get your mug, you can get your t-shirts in order to act like a family and think like a bank. So, also, finally, our big ulterior motive. Yes, we do have an ulterior motive. We have filed with the SEC and FINRA to do something called equity crowdfunding. We already got the check mark from the SEC. We are in the process of applying for a FINRA application to do equity crowdfunding. It's a fancy term, very simple meaning. Equity crowdfunding is when a whole bunch of people get together, put in a small amount of money. They invest in a business in exchange for partial ownership in that business or shares in that business. At the 10K project, we have applied to do this for Black entrepreneurs, and we're going to bring together the largest community of individuals who want to invest in Black-owned businesses for as little as $100 per investment. And when 10,000 people get together, put in $100 each, that's $1 million. The community can start funding its own businesses, profiting from its own innovation, creating jobs, and building Black wealth. So the basis of the Family Wealth Challenge is for us to attract some strong quality people, especially Black people, especially Black families that want to get together for both, you know, getting your family banks together and having the opportunity to, if we are approved, because we got to say that legally, if we're approved by FINRA, to actually look at the pitches that people are going to have, the business owners are going to have, and say, hey, you know what, I like that business. I want to invest in that business so that our businesses can get the funding that they so desperately need. So with that, we've got 5 minutes left because I said we were going to be here only for 30 minutes tonight. These are just little short sessions we're going to have. Dr. Keisha, Eric, final words from either one of you.
I'll just go first. One thing that I want to say about this, why I think this is just a great thing for everyone to take part of. This gives an opportunity to build or rebuild your financial family wealth from the ground up. And to me, that's always really appealing. Is no one's asking, everyone's asking for you to start at the level of where you are. Don't at all feel overwhelmed or looking at where someone else is at. Don't worry about that. This is about you starting at the level where you are and where your family is, and then beginning to rebuild it, from that point, brick by brick. And so I just feel like this is just really exciting to take part in.
Yeah, likewise, I'll add to that too. The thing that also is tremendous about this is, again, with our visionary Cherie here and our team putting all of this together, it, like she mentioned, it's not a blank sheet of paper where it's just a great idea and we're just like, let's do it. It really gives you a framework. There's a full framework to work within. We got tremendous speakers coming up to educate us, who are, experts in their craft, and all of it put together with the synergy is just going to be tremendous. And I'm excited about hearing actually even some of the challenges that we're having with this process, because as you mentioned, Cherie, this isn't a linear process. I think we get discouraged a lot of times when we think of things being so linear. It's really normal for things to ebb and flow, and things cycle. So stay with it, guys. Stay with it. That's what I would encourage us all to do. This is so our time. This is such a divine time right now. 2020 has been what it is. Let's make 2021 what we need it to be. Let's take it back, and I'm excited. I'm so excited.
Yeah, and I mean, my final thing is that in a way, there's never been a better time to be us in this country. There's never been more outreach from people saying, hey, if right now, if you want to do pretty much anything, you can go and say, hey, I want to learn about this. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to network with you. You need more diversity here. You need more diversity there. And you know what? People are receptive to the fact that they need more diversity. Yale University has a multi-billion-dollar endowment fund. And they are saying now that if people do not have diversity within their, the people that manage the portfolios, they're going to start taking money away from these places. So it is a great time for us to learn. We got to be on our game. We can't go in there half-stepping, but if y'all have families like I had a family, they like, look, no, you got to be 10 times better. That's just the way it is. Yes. However, we have an opportunity, our kids have an opportunity to do really great things within this country, within this economy. And the book talked about competitors and competitors going out of business, especially for your kids. The kids in India, the kids in Nigeria that live there now, that is their future competition. And a lot of those individuals are our competition today. We have to start playing this game on a global scale. So that's the family wealth lesson for today. We'll be back tomorrow. I might be here with a couple of other co-founders. We'll see. But we are going to be going over various aspects, not in depth, because in depth is if you were part of the Family Wealth Challenge. We're going to go in depth in February, but we're going to talk a little bit about family wealth based on the beginning portions of the book this week and next week, get everybody all revved up. So thank you, Eric. Thank you, Dr. Keisha. Thank you, Kitty Cat, for being here. And I hope you have a great evening. God bless everybody. And, we'll see you tomorrow.
See you later, all.